I can tell my brain is officially done with my shenanigans, and even my camera is given up. It's kind of sideways. Anyway, we'll get into that in a bit. But I'm going to be potting up some of those tissue cultures that I did ages ago. So these aren't actually the tissue cultures, these are babies from the tissue cultures. So just cuttings that I managed to propagate. And as I can only rent a room, we are doing it like this, like you're about to eat about to eat the TV. That's it, my brain is done. We're going to be using a bivy table. If you don't know what these are to basically gut fish and stuff. It's a bit gross and stop their, like, you know, innards going everywhere. But we're using it for potting up. It's pretty good actually if you've only got a room. You don't have much space, especially in the UK where most young people live in HMOs. They might not have any outdoor space, and you don't want to create too much of a mess on your desk or anything. And those plasticky foldy up ones, they always leak. So I've given up with them, and I've got myself a bivy table, and we're doing this American TV dinner style. I realise I haven't even introduced myself. I am Meg, and I've been working in horticulture for the last 4 years now. Before that, I worked in hospitality for 6 years while I was studying. Now I have nearly 300 houseplants, or just over 300 houseplants. There was a bit of a thrip outbreak, which sadly Thripgate happened, and now I may not have 300 anymore, but it's soon to change based on the project that I am working on. But more about that in a sec. I'm going to be basically popping these all in one pot because I want this to be like the philodendron that's in my bathroom. This one is the Philodendron Parasido Verde. Some of these are like lightly variegated. Some of these have started reversing now, which is a shame, but if we can chop them back, I reckon we can get some more of this variegation going. But I've got quite a few. So these were cuttings from the original tissue cultures that I did, and you can see those videos here, wherever they appear. That one's really good. That one's really bushy, but they're really raggledy. I just want them to be like in a fuller pot, so that's what I'm going to be doing today. Right, let's get into it. Oh, and I'm also going to be using soil from Soil Ninja because I don't have space for bucket loads of soil like I used to, so I'm going to Soil Ninja. They're pretty good with their soil. I really like the mixture. It's not too bitty, but it's just right for philodendrons and monstera. There's some chunks in it, some bark, and I'm going to be adding actually some of this. This is zeolite. If you don't know already, peat-free soil has different properties to soil that contains peat. Everywhere is going on a peat ban in the future, commercially and retail. Commercially is a bit later, but all your compost that will be sold in England will be peat-free. That can change the dynamic of the soil. So the zeolite, it will help with water retention and nutrient retention, which is something that is a bit trickier to find in peat-free soils. So that's what I'm excited about to use. Yeah, let's get cracking. So why is my brain fried? Well, it's a good question that probably maybe no one asked, but I'm going to tell you anyway. My brain is fried because I decided that it would be a good idea amongst moving house, now it will be twice, and moving jobs, not once but twice because I was maternity cover and now I'm in a permanent position, that I wanted to create a installation for RHS Malvern Spring show. Yeah, and like all good ideas, it started in the pub. Oh, a slug. So this is what has been eating my plants. This, gotta get rid of it. All right, I'll pop him there for now. So I saw an ad posted on social media about how Greenroom Markets, which is part of the Three Counties Showground, which hosts the RHS Malvern Spring Festival, will be opening up a new category of houseplant installations this spring. And at first I was like, oh, that would be brilliant. That would be brilliant to go to. I really like Malvern, especially the show. I think it's way better than Chelsea just because you can actually look around the exhibits. There's a lot more friendly people there. It's not just people going just for the sake of being seen with someone. So yeah, that's why I really like going last time, and I will probably continue to go to that. In November, I went to Parliament as part of a thing with the YPHA, and afterwards we went to the pub. I mentioned to John that I was really thinking about wanting to do this, but I didn't have anyone to help build it, and I, despite knowing how to use a lot of power tools, don't know how to build. I just wouldn't know how to build something like that. And he is a landscape designer, and he's been wanting to get into more interior design work relating to plants and stuff. So he was like, you know what? Let's do it. Let's do it. I was like, I can't pay you. And he was like, it's my gift to you. We'll just go out and do it. And I was like, oh, yeah. If you can do that, we'll put design together. We had, what, 2 weeks to put design together? Or maybe less than a week to put design together and submit it as part of this application process. We didn't really, well, I didn't really think about the logistics and everything behind it. I've never done anything like this before, like a major project. It's been a learning experience for sure. I was genuinely surprised, happily surprised, that my application got accepted. So now I am actually taking part in the show. Anyway, let's get into the design a bit, because that's what all 16 of you are asking, presumably. What does it even look like? Well, I actually found out not too long ago when I was doing a bit of research for another thing. I stumbled across all this research that was done on plants in general can reduce your anxiety and symptoms of depression. Just because it takes your mind off things in life, it's something to nurture, and there's various other reasons that planters believe happens when we look at houseplants, and it helps reduce those things, helps reduce blood pressure. Apparently that's why they put a lot of houseplants in office spaces, not just because they look pretty, it's because of they actually do lower the effects of stress. I also found it really interesting that in the UK, in London, in inner cities, they're legally allowed to build dwellings with 60% smaller windows than the rest of the UK, which is insane. So you have less natural light. We know how small new builds and new apartment blocks are with the rooms and stuff. Everything's very pokey. We're getting less light as well, which can really seriously affect people. So what is the solution to that? Well, you may have guessed it, is to have houseplants. Okay, it's not a perfect solution, but it's part way there. Because I found out that there's been a massive increase in children, teenagers and young adults being diagnosed with depression and anxiety, I wanted to do an installation that kind of embodies that. So the room is going to be this like neon cyberpunk kind of arcane aesthetic inspired room that's owned by a teenager, and it's going to be slightly chaotic. There's going to be plants everywhere. I wanted to draw on new types of planting and growing things such as the hydroponics. I've got a little hydroponics waterfall in there. Apparently John can build a waterfall wardrobe door. Fair play to him. If he can pull it off, then wow, the sky's the limit. So I wanted to show different planting techniques, but also that this is a teenager's room, so it's slightly chaotic. It's not going to be perfect, not really like a typical garden or showroom that you would find at the RHS. There's going to be a bit of a mess, you know, teenagers bits and bobs everywhere. Plants, just random assortment of plants. And because the windows, there's not going to be that much natural light, I'm going to include a lot of grow lights and neon lighting to really brighten up the space and get the plants planted. I'm also going to be using some shade-loving plants, but where there are fewer shade-loving plants, like in a cacti cabinet that we're trying to do, I am going to put lots of grow lights in there. And it's basically just showing a teenager or inspiring a teenager of what they could do with their bedroom and how can they display plants, and show to the parents that might come to these things, the grandparents, that okay, teenagers, they're starting to get into plants in real life, interacting with them on YouTube like here, or they're interacting with them on TikTok or on Instagram, and they're becoming a little bit more aware of plants and houseplants and nature in general. Why don't I buy my teenager a houseplant or something like that as kind of something to nurture, something to take their mind off other things. Plants like succulents and cacti are really great for those that suffer from depression and don't often have the time or the capacity to care for more high maintenance plants. But at the same time, if you did get a plant that it needs a bit more looking after, and your teenager or your young adult or the person in your life does neglect it and does kill it, at the end of the day, it's a plant. It's not as bad as if it was an animal. So yeah, I just wanted to raise awareness of how plants can help with anxiety and help with the symptoms of depression and anxiety. I now have a stand up at Malvern. Well, not a stand, an actual room exhibit. So if you want to come along, it's in the UK for those that are international, and it's based in Malvern in 3 Counties Showground, and it's running from the 8th to 11th of May. If you would like to support, I've got a crowdfunder and you can support me there, and there's a lot more information about it there. But also, some people just don't want to give donations, but they want to feel a little bit more involved with stuff like this. I've actually somehow managed to build this thing on my website, like a product, where you can purchase a space on my installation, and it's going to be under the waterfall area, propagation area, and it's going to be like a photo wall of the teenagers' friends and stuff. So if you have houseplants in your plant collection and you would like to donate to my exhibit, but you want to feel a little bit more involved, you can take a picture with your houseplant and upload it to my website. All of that money will go towards helping build this, helping spread the word about plants and nature and stuff, and getting people involved with houseplants in general. But yeah, if you want to get involved, the links will be in my description, and I hope to see you there. Bye. Oh, I forgot to show you the final product of this, and it's, you know, not perfect, could be better. I need to pin it down, I think. Yeah. Looks so much better, looks so much fuller. I think I'm gonna put some stakes in it to like make it stand up a bit better. Okay, bye for real.